Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Welcome back. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Jackie. And we have...
Japheth.
And...
Peter.
And... It sounded like you were doing something else.
It's like a Jabba the Hutt kind of moment right there.
And that brings us into today's episode. We are talking about Disney's Plus, The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
The...
Boom, boom, boom. Sorry.
At first I wasn't so sure about the music, but man, I've gotten into it big
It
time.
sticks. It's so good.
If you haven't seen The Mandalorian, go see it.
This is a spoiler.
This will be
episode.
a heavy spoiler episode.
For season 1 and 2.
Yes,
both seasons.
For both seasons. So, before we do any spoilers, let people know, should they watch it?
Yes.
I would say it's better than the movies.
You get
The new trilogy,
You get
yes.
more character development, and you're getting that intertwining storylines like the Marvel movies.
Oh, you totally... With season 2, you definitely get Marvel vibes with what they're setting up.
Those mention one name, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what's going to happen. We're going to see it.
Right?
So... Get Disney Plus, even if you just get it for a month, binge it, and then whatnot. But
It's worth your time.
it's worth your time and money.
free trial.
Even if you're not a Star Wars fan. Because my wife, she's not the biggest Star Wars fan, and she watched it, and it got her to the point where she's like, okay, get me to what you know. And I'm all like, where to
young
start?
Padawan, slow down.
Where to start?
Alright, so if you haven't watched it, go check out our other episodes
For Star Wars?
for Star Wars.
Yeah, we had a Star Wars
We had a Star Wars episode. Listen to that one, listen to our other episodes, because we will be starting the spoilers for Mandalorian.
We're just going to review it.
Yeah, we're going to review it.
You have been warned.
Alright, so we're just going to go... Quick review over season 1
We don't want to focus too much time on it.
season 1 of Mandalorian.
Came out last
Basically, you get introduction to this bounty hunter, which is a Mandalore, right?
A Mandalorian.
A Mandalorian. And he's a bad fighter.
He's just good at what he does.
They make it very clear that he's good within the first 5 minutes of the first episode.
Yes.
He does the classic, like, walk into a bar, and he shows you who's in charge without trying to show you.
Yes.
He doesn't punch the biggest guy in the face. The biggest guy comes to him, and he punches him in the face.
Yes.
So, very awesome. Skilled at fighting and getting what he wants.
Collecting his bounty.
Yes, he's very good at collecting bounty. But at this time, bounties and were very limited at this time.
Instability post...
This is the fall of the Empire.
Post-Empire, where people aren't sure, like, what money is legit, who's in charge, depending on the area.
Well, they're in the Outer Rim, too.
Yes.
So there's not really any sort of governing power that has any real influence in this section of the galaxy.
Yes.
Right. And so, but then, his kind of nickname is Mando.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because Mandalorians are
A warrior
scare race right now. Like scarce, not scared. A scarce race.
There's not many of them left.
They're in hiding because they were hunted by the Empire, and their armor is of value.
It's it's like the strongest metal known in the galaxy.
Yes. So basically, he gets a task to get this package, I would say.
There's a bounty. They didn't give. There was no like picture. They just had the tracker
Yes.
for it, and so the Mandalorian was able to track its location. You meet a very memorable character, and you find out that it's a little baby Yoda.
Yes.
It's a little baby Yoda.
The same race as Yoda.
Not baby Yoda, but that's the nickname everyone had given it.
Not reincarnated.
No,
Yoda.
it's not Yoda, but it's of the same race
it
of
is
Yoda.
At this time called the Child.
The child, yes.
And, Mando creates a bond with the child, after he...
I would say the bond doesn't necessarily happen until season 2.
Right.
I think he's concerned that the child is in danger when he gives the bounty to
The Empire.
the Empire.
The Empire.
The remnants of the
remnants
Empire.
of the Empire. And he was very concerned, so he goes back and breaks like
the guild
scroll,
Mm-hmm.
which was like, that hey, you got paid, it's done, it's over. And he creates chaos at that point. And so it's basically a hunt. Like, people are hunting for Mando and the
baby.
And the baby again. And that's pretty much season 1.
Yeah, that's about season 1, is...
Until it's like
there is a plot point with the Imperial commander,
a Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon.
So that's like a governor
Yes.
of like a planetary system.
Mm-hmm.
That title was given.
And he's in form of intelligence, so he's a very smart. Yes, he's a very smart. He knows things. He's a man that he gets to where he's at because of what he knows, and so it's his whole purpose to try to get the child. And at the end of the season, you find out that he holds a very important artifact that many Star Wars fans who are fans of the
Clone
Wars and Rebels series as the Dark Saber.
These are a computer animated TV series.
Yes.
That are supplementary to
The movies.
The movies.
And it's called the Dark Saber, which is just basically a black lightsaber.
Do you know the history behind the black saber?
I do.
Okay, so for those who don't know, they're like, whoa, this is a lightsaber that's black. And apparently the history for it is it was controlled by a Jedi that was from Mandalore.
The first Mandalorian Jedi.
Yes, and for those that don't know the history between the Mandalorians and Jedis, they are rivals. They had a great war, and the Mandalorians lost against the Jedis. And there's a reason why the Mandalorians wear a certain armor type, because it is repellent to lightsabers.
Yes.
And so this is reinforced in season 2 as you see it in action. But yes, there's a history with that, and you kind of get a sense of like the Jedi's. There's still that animosity with Jedi's in the lore of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, and at the end of towards the end of season 1 of Mandalore, Mando gets the task of reuniting Baby Yoda, or the child, with his people, which are the Jedi.
Yes.
And so that brings us to season 2, where Mando is trying to locate...
A Mandalorian.
No, he's trying to locate a Jedi.
A Jedi,
trying
yes, that's
to
right.
create a Jedi, but also wants to find people like him, the Mandalorian.
Because he was told that there is a connection between the people of Mandalore as well as the Jedi. So he's hoping to run into another Mandalorian that might have an idea about where to find a Jedi.
Yes.
That's basically how the season starts, is him looking for Mandalorians to take him to the next clue.
Because as we know, this is post-Empire. There's only one Jedi. That's Luke.
That we know of.
That we know of. There's Luke.
There could be others.
There's
in theory.
Ezra from the Rebels.
Yep.
He's floating up there.
He might come back.
He's a character that we don't have closure. Then we have Ahsoka Tano, but she's not a Jedi.
She's not.
She's no Jedi. And that's made known in Rebels and the end of Clone Wars as well. So, and then you have Leia, who's just getting trained. So,
Well, there is another one from the video games.
oh yes,
I forget his name, but
Starkiller. No,
No, it's not Starkiller.
Oh.
It's somebody else. But there's another Jedi that's out there, but supposedly we might get more information on another game.
they're gonna bring
for
him in maybe.
There's another game coming out
Oh, okay.
for his
That's
series, so we'll get more story on that.
Yeah. But we start off, episode 1 has a heavy Western
Theme.
theme.
Yes, it's certain.
Heavy.
But before it goes to the Western theme, they go to a grungy, grimy
Oh, yes.
planet where he's trying to get information. Of course, you want information. You go to the scum of like the earth, and there's like this underground or this like planned fight between the two. I forget the name of the race, but the guards from
The
like,
Gamorrean guards.
Is that what they are?
Yeah.
They're the guards from
The pig face.
the pig face guards from Jabba the Hutt and Return of the Jedi,
Mhm.
and they're fighting each other. And Mando goes there to get information from a Cyclops character of
Yeah.
some sort. Never seen him before, and it starts off with an epic battle establishing you that the Mando he's king where he goes. He's good at what he does. And I think it was a great fight scene. I think
It
it sets a
was.
tone where you're like, oh, we're back in it.
Oh yeah.
The fight begins.
Yeah. So what were some of, like, in episode 1, we don't need to kind of go over the summary of this, but what were some of the high points of the episodes, would you say?
Oh, I love that fight scene in the beginning. I love
Yeah.
when Baby Yoda sees, like, he activates his...
Oh, I love that, when, like, Mando, like...
What do they call it? They're
the Sparrow...
the whistling birds or something
Yeah.
like something like
Yeah,
that.
when he clicked the button and, like, Baby Yoda's like, nope,
He's
no
like,
one wants
things
to.
are about to go down. Closes his shield, and then it does. I love that weapon. It's so effective in getting him out of trouble.
Yep.
So I love that. I like... What did I like about
One
it?
thing you know about Mando is that he loves himself a good flamethrower. I
Oh.
think almost in every episode he uses that flamethrower.
It's a disruptor. It's just like...
Yes, it just, yeah, distracts of, like, the fight of, like, I'm on fire, and...
I never realized that until you mentioned it. It's like,
He's like uses it almost every single, even in season 1. It's like even like episodes where he doesn't use it, he tries to use it, but he's stopped.
Yeah.
Another high point, I love Mando's relationship with the Sand People.
Oh,
Like-
we
Yes.
make our way back to Tatooine.
Because there is rumored that he gets information on this grimy contact and in the beginning to go to Tatooine.
Because there's a
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian there,
Yes.
which Star Wars fans are aware of a Mandalorian or a person who wears Mandalorian armor in the Star Wars history, as far as we knew at the time, had died on Tatooine. So we
Yes, we're
assume-
referring to Boba Fett
Yes.
and the Sarlacc pit in the beginning of Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Also, as we are introduced to the guy wearing Boba Fett's armor, he's referenced in the Aftermath novels.
Yes.
So there's a trilogy novels that goes into what happens right after the second Death Star blows up. So it goes on a journey of like how all the Star Destroyers end up in Jakku. So if you're interested in more information, the Aftermath series, give it a shot. I enjoyed it. Some people don't like it, but they have little snippets of like characters that they throw in, and the marshal of this small town, you get his story. And so when I saw him, I was like, is that the same character? And sure enough, it is. And so it was kind of fun. We're like, they brought in a small character from a novel. This is amazing for the the Star Wars novel fans. It's great.
Well, it's fun because, like, the Marshal, like, when they're traveling together, he's on, like, a pod racer, like...
I thought of Anakin Skywalker.
It is Anakin.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. It's the same engine that Anakin Skywalker uses in Episode 1 in his pod race.
So you think it is?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay. All right.
Like, it has his signia on it.
Did you? I didn't see that. I saw it was like more orange. It was different. But I get the vibe. Like, I think they're trying to imply it is, but things change. It's been 40 years, 50 years since that. So okay, you believe it is. What was another high point for you guys on that?
The intro to Boba Fett. You see someone
At the
in
end,
the
the very end
at
of the
the
episode.
very end of the episode.
Did
I
you
mean,
guys
what
know
was-
it was him? Like,
Of
I knew
course.
immediately. I was like, that's the same actor from Attack of the Clones that played Jango Fett.
Yep.
I mean, were you guys pretty hyped? Because at this point, we had no idea. Like,
That was a great hype point.
I thought they were going. I thought when they're like, "Oh, there's one in Tatooine," I was like, "Well, it's gotta be Boba Fett."
Yeah.
Like, what? Who? Are they gonna bring some
Well,
random
they
Mandalorian?
They did tease Boba Fett a little bit in the middle of season 1, when Mando does go to Tatooine. At the very end of the episode, you hear Boba Fett's spurs.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't catch
Oh,
that?
I didn't catch that.
Oh,
Why
my
don't you go back to
goodness.
season 1 when Mando goes to Tatooine at the very end of the episode when he's going up to what's her name?
the
The
mechanic.
sharp the
Oh no,
sharpshooter.
sharpshooter. Okay.
Her supposed dead body.
Yeah.
You the person comes up and you hear the spurs. Psh, the iconic spurs that Boba Fett has in his walk.
Interesting. Oh,
And
that's so good.
So
Yeah.
there was a big suspicion that he was going to be coming in for season 2. So.
Was there anything in the episode that you were like, meh?
I again, like you said, it's a Western feel. So you've seen the story. You have two unlikely, butting head enemies have one giant issue, which is a giant
Crate dragon.
yes,
Yes.
that spits acid, and I felt like I was watching a Dune.
That was a lot of inspiration for
I
sure.
figure like you get the Dune sand monster kind of like coming out. I was gonna ask you guys if you'd seen like when Mando, escapes the monster's mouth. You see the electricity. I was like, where did that electricity come from? And I watched the episode today, and you could see from his like sniper rifle, you can see
He used his rifle.
there's an electricity like that was going across the prongs, and I was like, oh, I guess that weapon has like an electricity burst, and it like affected the monster. I was kind of blown away. I was like, what's this capability that can affect a whole giant like crate dragon? Like,
It's only weak on the inside.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, that makes sense. But those were like, I kind of found it was kind of predictable with the storyline, but I still enjoyed just it being told with Star Wars characters that I love.
I did learn a bit of history because, they put a big emphasis at the very end of the episode about the pearl that
Yes.
the Tusken
yes.
Raiders pull up, and I learned history about what the pearls come from. So what it is are the crate dragons. They eat a lot of rocks and dirt, and
Okay.
things like that, and their bodies, it breaks it down. Well, sometimes it'll eat kyber crystals, but it doesn't break down, and so it forms a pearl, and that's where
So
those are the pearls
wow.
are kyber crystals.
Wow.
And so a lot of people theorize is that Mando is going to make a lightsaber from that pearl.
Well, he didn't get the pearl.
He didn't, but they made a big point of showing it off.
I thought that was
So
just to
you
show
can-
like a trophy because it was part of the lore of like.
You could.
It was-
It could very well be. But there was some suspicion out there that
Ooh.
because what's always good, because we've already introduced one lightsaber into the series. What's kind of iconic Star Wars? Lightsaber battles. And you need 2 lightsabers for that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people suspect that pearl will form a new lightsaber.
Maybe it's Baby Yoda's.
It could be. It could be.
Maybe.
Macaroon in one hand. And
Yeah, blue macaroon.
Blue, yeah.
Which leads us to well, it doesn't lead to, but
No.
episode 2.
Side mission.
Side mission.
He gets information that if he completes the task of dropping off this
frog lady,
this salamander-like species to Mon Calamar, the person he dropped, or the
person's
spouse,
spouse,
they know where there's a Mandalorian.
They've seen a Mandalorian,
And so,
Which brings us this episode, which I'm not a huge fan of.
if there's not much to note here, it's just there's creepy spiders.
I
It's
did.
a filler.
I didn't like the spiders. I didn't like the child or Baby Yoda eating the eggs.
committing genocide.
See, the thing is, like, the writers
They
thought
didn't expect that.
They thought it as a joke, and like the audience took it as like it's the most horrible thing in the world.
You look at
Well,
Baby Yoda a
granted,
different way.
the eggs weren't fertilized or.
But still, like, these are it. These are the last of my species. And he's like, And so, like, I did like something about this episode. I like the looking back on it after watching the whole show.
Sure.
I watched a little bit today. I like the X-Wing scenes because you get a feel of what the rebellion is doing and how they're kind of overstretched, and you just have X-Wings, like, floating around as random police.
Yes.
And with the introduction of a TV show, what is it called? There's the
I'm forgetting the name of it, but they introduced. There's a new TV show coming out.
Rangers. Right?
Yeah, it's like it has to do with the New Republic, like police force, basically, and it should be coming out in 2022, I believe.
And I think this is like its cue of like these people are here and the rebellion. They sense something's going on, but they don't have the capabilities. And you read in the
Especially in the Outer Rim.
yes, and you read in the books. The New Republic doesn't want a giant army to protect itself. They are afraid that it's going to be used against it, so they kind of disband the rebellion. They don't create a grand army to protect the galaxy. You get that in the books. And so that creates that vulnerability for the First Order to come in and create its own chaos, too. And so it's a small little force floating out there in the Outer Rim.
With a small cameo of Dave Filoni, one of the producers and directors of the Mandalorian series. He is one of the X-Wing pilots.
Is he?
Yes.
I didn't notice that.
I know
He was also
Oh,
in season 1 as an X-Wing pilot as well.
I was thinking of like...
Not the Asian one, the other one.
Yeah. But I'm thinking of like the other cameo, John Favreau.
Favreau, yeah.
Favreau, yeah. He's one of the Mandalorians, and the epic scene when all the
in
Mandalorians come
season
out.
1, yeah.
He's the one with the big gun, and he's the one that flies next to Mando
And a ship.
and the ship, and he salutes them. And that's kind of a sign of like Iron Man, because he was
totally.
Iron Man's assistant, where he like salutes him right there. And he like after hearing that, you watch it, you're like, oh, goosebumps, nice warm feeling. So it's cool that I didn't see him there.
Yep.
And I didn't.
He didn't want to do it, but they kind of
Throw him in
pressured
there.
they pressured him into the
He
the
didn't want to
part
wear
of
his
it.
cowboy hat that he wears in all his interviews.
Right.
His signature.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would say that's about...
You didn't like the giant spiders, Jackie?
No, I hated the spiders.
Those are a cameo from Rebels too, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, they are. Yeah, not a big fan of the spiders, but I would say episode 2 was a bridge episode to get to...
Yes.
A great episode next.
Yes, the next episode.
Episode 3.
Episode
Season
3.
2. We are now in Mon Calamar.
Yes.
Which is, if we all know from Return of the Jedi, that's where Admiral Akbar is from.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, who's Admiral Akbar? It's a trap! That's Admiral Akbar. And there's also the squid-looking face people. They share the same planet. You get more information about that
In the Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, because there's a civil war, and
They don't like each other.
They don't like each other. Or there's just like, one has power. There's sectarian,
Yes.
strife between them.
Yes, and then you also get an introduction to, it was an exciting moment, Bo-Katan.
Yep. From
Clone
Wars.
Wars and Rebels.
She was in Clone Wars and Rebels, so that was like an exciting
She is
character.
She is basically the princess of Mandalore.
Yes. She was the
leader for a short time.
And if you watch the last season of Clone Wars, the Empire or the Republic has an established foot in there, which Mandalore was a neutral state
During the Clone Wars.
And you kind of sense of like, oh, like the Empire didn't leave. They stayed there and they created chaos.
Yep.
And as they say, Mandalore's been blasted to glass. There's nothing there. And so you get the sense of like, what happened to Mandalore?
I think we'll get more info on that.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, that's.
I think that's going to be the event that's going to tie all of these new shows together.
Yep.
Is going to lead up to the Battle of Mandalore.
Mm-hmm. Because you're gonna have Ahsoka there probably, and do you think she'll pop up in that?
Oh yeah.
Oh good.
So
yeah.
Peter, what were some of high moments in episode 3 that you liked?
So I mean, you get a little bit more backstory about, because like there was a lot of confusion about this whole helmet, taking your helmet off thing, and they kind of clarified that like that whole like can't remove your helmet thing was about this small sect.
They're as she calls it, a zealot religious group called the Watch.
The Watch, which is a kind of like a break-off group of the Night Watch.
Yes, and they're kind of like, I call them like the French like Foreign Legion, where you don't actually have to be born of Mandalore to pretty much be from them. That's what I get the vibe, because
he's technically not
Din Djarin, the Mando. He is not.
He's
not pure blood.
No,
he doesn't have a lineage.
He was rescued during the Clone Wars by the Night Watch.
People who were purists, because before, during the Clone Wars, they didn't all wear armor. They were pacifists at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so those who wore the armor were they were radicals.
Yes.
And the Night Watch, not Night Watch,
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Death Watch. They were trying to do a coup of power to bring Mandalore
back to its former glory.
Yes. And so you have these groups that are fringe, and Din Djarin's, Mando's group, the Watch, they are one of those.
And they were told that they are not to show their face to a living being.
Yeah.
That's one of their rules. But they clarify, because throughout the history of Star Wars, you've always seen Mandalorians take their helmets off like it's casual, so now you get that clarification.
I saw that and I was like, you think back to like Rebels, is like, boy, that's a huge mistake, and they're like totally like washing over.
They're doubling down on this whole can't take the mask off thing.
Did they not watch the seasons they created and like the Clone Wars? But it does clarify, and it was like that, like, oh, like that breath out of like, oh, it's explained. They didn't screw up. All right,
yes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I thought a high point was when they brought up Ahsoka Tano.
Oh yeah, Ahsoka Tano. They were like,
I know a Jedi.
Yeah, or no, she goes. She didn't say she was a Jedi. She goes, I know someone who can help you. It was like she didn't say she was a Jedi.
She didn't. Oh, okay.
She didn't.
I thought she did.
Yeah, that was like that was the last like episode, or I watched it earlier, and I was listening specifically like, does she call her a Jedi?
Okay.
And she doesn't, and I was like, okay. She goes, I know someone who can get you help, or who can help you find a Jedi, and that's what it was. For those who are fans of Bosch, the TV show on Amazon, it's a detective show. My wife and I love it. The actor who plays Bosch is the commander of the ship that like does the cyanide cap or the electrical cap that kills himself.
The Imperial
officer of the ship that they hijack. So I was like, oh, it's Bosch. That's so cool. So a little cameo or a little fan.
And so also in that episode, I think probably the last big bit of news is that you see Bo-Katan asking where Moff Gideon is, because she knows he has the Darksaber, which is kind of like the sign that you are the ruler of Mandalore. If you possess the Darksaber, you are the ruler of Mandalore.
And by possessing it, you have to win it in combat.
Yes.
It can't be like, it's yours. And they go over that later, but those who know about it from Rebels, you have to win it.
Mm-hmm. You have to earn it.
You have to earn it. Because it's not one of those things that's passed down. It's like, we want the strongest leader to be in charge. It's kind of like a pride, like a lion pride, to lead the group.
So, any other last words for episode 3? Any high points you liked?
It was exciting.
Yeah, it was fun. There was like the, whole...
This was a great season. Like, there was just... For the Star Wars fan that has consumed a lot of Star Wars media, this was a great season.
They don't let down. They just don't, let off the gas.
They don't.
Just,
almost every episode was just like, oh, wow, this is something. This is... Even some of the fillers, it was like, oh, this is something from this. They're referencing this. They're referencing that.
It was... I kept finding myself watching, this is the best TV show. I kept saying every episode, because it is. It was like, I'm watching movie quality on a streaming TV show, and I was like, this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I just blown away. I'm just so happy.
So, episode 4, fun episode, I would say. A lot of, combat. This is where...
Return to Navarro.
Yes.
They go to the same planets regularly. They got go-tos.
Yeah.
Mando's got to fix his ship, so he goes back to the kind of the main planet from season 1.
Yes.
Right.
Where
Where it all started, basically.
Fix the Razor Crest, and they're going on a mission to destroy... They've got peace there, they got stability.
Now that the Empire's been kind of driven off.
Yes. And so you have Baby Yoda eating some macaroons.
Oh, my high moment was Baby Yoda at school stealing macaroons. I was like, Baby Yoda is a bully.
I mean, he didn't beat up the kid. He's
No.
just like, oh, those are cute. Kids, they just randomly take things.
I love the kid. He's 50 years old.
He's like, I'm cute.
He's been around. Yeah.
It's like Baby Herman. Just waiting for him to pull out a cigar and start smoking.
But very fun with the blue macaroons,
Yeah.
which, by the way, you can get them online, and they're
Yeah,
they're like $50 or so.
Just go to a bakery somewhere and pick them up and play your kids. The Baby Yodas.
Yeah. They will not know the
They
difference.
will.
Right. Let's see here.
I mean, this was a filler, so I mean, they
There's definitely the epic fight scene. I love the chase scene.
Yes, the chase scene was great. I loved when they go over the edge. Did you watch the blue character who's played by Horatio Sands?
Yes.
He was an SNL comedian. And then you have the other gentleman. I forget his name. But their faces when they go over the edge, they're like, whoa!
Carl Weathers character.
Yes, Carl Weathers. Yes. It was so fun to watch them in that moment.
Because it's like they're being in the action that they're not used to being a part of.
Yes.
They're normally behind the scenes people, and so they're being thrown right into the middle of the action.
And those speeders jumping off the edge and they're going down the mountains. I mean, that was our favorite action figure to play with.
Oh yeah,
on the speeders.
the speeder bike that
Yes.
explodes.
And so to see them maneuver down the mountain, what a scene!
That was a great scene.
Where he's sliding with his foot on the ground, it just you could see yourself being as a kid watching that show, and you're like, let me get on my bike and go down the mountain a little bit, and I'm a little speeder. Oh, I totally would have done that.
It was a great scene for sure.
What about the lab that they kind of run into?
So that was kind of the
was
big plot
huge.
point. That was the big plot point.
Yeah.
Where they reference metachlorians, they call them the
M
M
count,
count,
M
which
count.
if you're a Star Wars fan, you immediately drew the conclusion of oh, they're talking about metachlorians.
You go to the prequels, and those are the big joke. They're like, oh, the midichlorian count's higher than Yoda's.
That's right.
So it brings Anakin Skywalker into the fold because his count's so high.
That's right.
So when you measure the power of a Jedi,
So basically, you just
of
know
course wield.
you find out that the Empire's they need the child's blood for their experimentation. And so that's basically the big revelation, and that it's not the child is a clone or anything like that. It's just they're using that for some sort of genetic experiment.
And And you get a sense that they're dealing with cloning because the patch of
The head scientist.
is the same patch that you see in Episode 2 with all the miniature...
Star Wars episode.
Star
2,
Wars
the movie.
Episode 2, yes, the movie, Attack of the Clones. If you watch our episode, we don't like it. And they do have a lot. They build the foundation of the whole Star Wars series. It really builds
In that movie,
in that
absolutely.
movie. And where you learn with the clones, which Boba Fett is a clone. If you watch that movie, you see the same patch.
Yep.
And you see in the tanks, you kind of see a Snoke kind of shape.
That's what I was wondering. Is are they testing Snoke?
I think there is a possible connection between the Snoke and the Emperor experiments that you learn about in Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker.
Dark science. So that was it Sith science
Yeah.
with dark science.
So there's a possible connection.
Which nobody knows about Jedis, but people know about Sith